Hey everyone, welcome to Family Adventures on Trikes. Recently we've been getting questions and comments from you that you would like to know more about our trikes, about our gear, about our equipment, how they are made. And in this episode we decided to give you like a small tour of our trikes and answer all your questions and guide you through the exact gear that we have and the equipment that is built into them. So let's just make a turn around them and see what we are going into. So these are our two trikes. Both are the same model. It is Steintrikes Wild One, as you see here. And we will go step by step and try to see everything. So as you might not be familiar with this exact model, I will start with the frame. So the frame is made of steel and is a fully suspended frame. When you first see a Wild One, the first thing you will notice is this front axle, which is made as a double wishbone with suspension on both sides. So the suspension is made with these suspension elements consisting of springs. A similar suspension subsystem we can see on the rear. So this is something they call a preload adjustable spring system. So with the suspension system you can have up to 100 millimeters or 10 centimeters of travel on all wheels, on all three wheels. For example, if it's me who is riding the trike, it's adjusted differently with different springs. It is not the same thing if I am riding this trike or if it is some tall guy of 100 kilograms, and so this suspension allows the travel to be the same for any weight and size of the rider. The next thing we can notice are these black rods, which when loosened can be rotated to adjust the toe-in of the wheels. So the toe-in, that is in fact the angle of the wheels, how they stand related to each other. So ideally the front of the wheels should be a little bit closer than the rear, for like 1 or 1.5 millimeters, I think. So if it's not the case, this is the thing that you need to adjust. Just rotate them and tighten again when the measurements show the right toe-in. If you don't know what would be this toe-in thing that I just talked about and how to adjust it on your trike, I will leave a link just here or here, I think here, where the manufacturers of this model are explaining exactly what it is and how to adjust it for this model. But you can also get a sense of it and see how to do it for your exact model that you have. The next thing about the frame is the steering. As we can see here, we have the indirect steering, which means that the handlebars are not exactly on the wheel, on the base of the wheel, but they are transferred through this mechanism. So when we rotate the handlebars, the wheels rotate as well. The next important thing is the boom. So the boom can be extended up to the desired length. I'm not sure what is the maximum length of it, but as you can see, for me it is more on the inside, while on Andres trike it is pulled out quite a bit more. So this is totally adjustable to your size, and generally if you feel that the length is just not right for you, it's a bit too long, it's a bit too short, you can always readjust it and just shift it for a little bit to the front or back inside to shorten it. What can we say more about the frame itself? Here, right under the seat, we have this place where we can disassemble the frame to the front and the rear part. And I guess it would be useful when transporting the trike, maybe in some public transport where you have to really fold it and put it in a bag. Like this would be an option, but I wouldn't use it for some transport that is happening often, because it's just not very practical. I think, in fact, it's the only thing that I miss on this trike, is that it's not foldable, like some other models that we saw on the internet, which can fold right here. But I don't think it's a big problem. It's just something that would be nice to have on it. For the folding mechanism, they actually do offer this mechanism over here with a quick release, where we can fold up this part. So this system does actually shorten the total length of the trike. And in cases when you want, for example, to transport it in a car, it can help you if the length is the limiting factor. But for example, for transporting in public transportation, I wouldn't say this is a big advantage. The next thing that might be interesting on a frame is the reclining angle of the seat. So this seat can be reclined, as you can see, and adjusted with this quick release. And if I remember correctly, the reclining angle of the seat can range from 30 to 37 degrees or more or less. Oh, and if you're interested in any of the details, such as this one or any other technical specifications about this model, you should definitely check out the website of the manufacturer, Steintrikes. I will leave the link to the website in the description of this video, so feel free to have a look there and check it out. Oh, and talking about the technical details, you could also check out the recent episode of Gary Solomon's laid-back bike report, which I'll again leave a link over here, where he interviewed Robert Stein of the Steintrikes, the engineer who is behind all this. So if you want to know more, do check it out. It was very nice. The rear rack that we have is the so-called touring or travel rack. I'm not sure how they call it, which is intended for carrying 2 or 4 panniers. So you can put them over here or over here, and even here for a smaller one. And these are especially designed for touring and carrying gear. And you can also load like a big bags over here on the top and use all this space behind your head. When we were touring during the summer, we put some wraps just around it not to scratch the paint. I don't know if that's necessary or not, but we felt better with that. Now, a cool stuff, sitting in the cockpit. Like this place where you're sitting on a trike, it's actually called a cockpit, and I find it really funny. So, sitting in the cockpit of my trike, I have access to the handlebars, obviously, for steering, and also the shifters for my gears, and the brake levers. Beside that, I have the little bell. Andre prefers to have this honk. And I have a rear view mirror. I consider it extremely important to have a rear view mirror on the trike, so you can always see what is happening behind you and have an overview of the traffic situation you're in, especially if you're traveling or just riding in a country like ours where we don't have a lot of bicycle paths, and we have to ride on the road with cars and trucks and so on. So then the brakes. So we have this simple levers for the brake, and what is really cool with them is this what we call a hand brake, or I don't know, stop button, which you press and then the trike stays put in place. So we use this to park our trike, and when we want to leave it, it doesn't matter if it's on a downhill or uphill or anywhere, like you just pull the brake, press the button, and that's it. As you can see, I have 2 brakes. One is for each wheel. They are Sturmy Archer drum brakes of 70 millimeters. On the right wheel, I also have the drum brake, which is, I think, the same model like on the left wheel, except it has a dynamo included, a power generator, which can be used to power the lights, or you can also use it to charge your phone or something like that. On Andre's trike, the situation is a bit different. On the front, he also has these drum brakes, but a bigger model. His brakes are 90 millimeter ones. The same thing is on the right wheel. He has a power generator integrated in the hub. And he also has a rear wheel, a 70 millimeter one. And for the back brake, he has another mechanism here where he can brake just the rear wheel. When getting the Trikes, we had an option to include these drum brakes that we did, or the more conventional disc brakes. And for me, it was very unusual to have the drum brakes. I never even heard that you can have a drum brakes on a bike. But as we talked about this, they persuaded us that the drum brakes don't need any maintenance, and it sounded like a really great thing to have. So we never have to worry about our brakes again. So we accepted this proposition and included the drum brakes to all our wheels. You might also wonder why Andrew has bigger brakes than I have. The reason for that is simple, because he's the one who is pulling the kids in the trailer, and also usually he has more weight that he carries than I do, and so we consider that it is a good idea if he had bigger brakes and stronger ones than mine. Talking about the wheels, we just simply have to mention the tires that we are using, as we like to tour with our Trikes and also often travel loaded. We really don't like to have punctures in our tires, so that's why we decided to get puncture resistant tires. And the one Andrew has is, I think, the golden standard of the puncture resistant wires. It is the Schwalbe Marathon Plus tire, and he has those on all 3 wheels. And for me, as we were talking about the tires with the guys from Steintrikes, they mentioned that they have a tire from another manufacturer. It is called Mitas Stop Thorn System, which is also a tire which is puncture resistant. And it is something we never used before, but we decided to give it a try and just compare how it would behave and just how it would compare to Andrew's Schwalbe Marathon Plus, and if we would have problems with either of them. We still have to wait and see. So far we've been riding for more than 6 months, and we've been on several smaller tours and rode around the town, and we didn't have any punctures yet, so we will keep you updated on that. Another thing about the wheels is that we have all 20-inch wheels. On the rear there was also an option to get a 26-inch one, which I guess would give us more speed, but then we wouldn't be able to put this rack, but a smaller one, and we wouldn't have the option to load the stuff on the top, which we usually do. At least we put our tent and sleeping bags, so we really needed that. And also everyone's recommendation for touring is to get a 20-inch rear wheel, so we just went with this recommendation. If we are looking at the wheels, you must have noticed that we also have the mud guards, or the fenders as some like to call them, and there is this special holder for the mud guards that you can get from Steintrikes. They can also be in the color of your trike. Speaking of color, in all the Steintrikes models you can choose any color you want, and you can also make your own combination of colors, which parts you want painted in which color. And actually for Andre, when we went for a test ride, this trike was already assembled, and he said that these would not be the colors that he chose, but now as he saw them, he thought it was very nice, and also that it will be very highly visible on the road, and so he just said, I want that one that was already there. And I had my thoughts about the colors. You know, we can sometimes have those problems that we cannot decide, you know, when there are too many choices available, and after some thinking, I decided to go with only one color for the whole trike, and I chose this forest green color, which I still very much like. You might also wonder what kind of pedals are we using. So the pedals that came along with this trikes were combined pedals, which are just flat on one side, and clipless SPD pedals on the other side. And we thought this is the right way to go, because when we are touring and going for longer rides, we use the clipless system always. But for some shorter rides just around the neighborhood, or if it's very cold, we would use our normal shoes and then just use the flat side. It still has this little gripping things so your foot will not slip so easily. Shifters and gears. So we have two shifters, one on each side, the front and the rear, as we call them. Even I don't have a front shift. I'm about to explain that, don't worry. So Andrew has a front shifter with 3 chain rings, ranging from 44 to 22. And on the rear he has a standard cassette of 9 chain rings. While on my trike I have just 1 chain ring on the front with 34 teeth. And on the rear I have also a standard cassette of 9 chain rings. But I also have a Sturmy Archer internal hub with 3 speeds. So when I'm talking about my front derailleur or my front shifter, that in fact I'm thinking about this internal speeds. So this Sturmy Archer internal hub has 3 options. The middle one is just 1-on-1, the lower one is 0.7, and the higher one is 1.3, the actual gear combination that I'm using. Something very cool and for me unusual about this hub is that you can change gears when you are at still, which is a very good thing. If you, for example, forget to shift before climbing a hill, you can just stop, put in the lower one and just go on. And I think the last thing are our seats. As you can see, we have these hard shell seats with an added meshed cushion, which are extremely comfortable. Like, they really follow the line of your back and support you all the way. And with this headrest you can also just relax your head when not riding. One of the things that I don't like about these seats is that your back can get quite warm in it, especially in the summer, even though they have some air tunnels which should help you feel less warm. There is also another option of using mesh seats, which I saw that a lot of people who are touring are using. But so far I like my seat. I don't want to try something else yet, but who knows, maybe in the future we will give it a try as well. If we go back to the beginning and take a general overview of the trikes, we can say that they are very well built and that they have some interesting solutions for different parts. One thing that I really like about them is that they are very customizable and can adapt to individual needs of the user. And as you saw, there are many options that you can choose from, so everyone can find what fits him best. So thank you for being with us today. These were, I guess, the main things about our trikes, the main points that I wanted to share with you. If you have any more questions or comments, you feel free to leave them in the comment section down below. Also, if you like this video, you can give us a thumbs up. It really helps us grow our channel. And you can also hit the subscribe button and the little notification bell to get notified for the new videos that we are publishing. If you're new to our channel, we publish a new video every 2 weeks on a Friday. So stay tuned and see you soon. And if you want to see something more, here is a video where we talk about what we like and don't like on trikes compared to a regular standard upright bike. And here you can find some of our touring videos and see if you like that as well. Thank you. Bye.